In this video, we got our Model Ys naked, and today we're going to show you what the differences are from the inside out. So just for you, we actually did an instructional guide, but while we were doing this, we were doing both the Model Y Standard and the Model Y Juniper Premium, and we've actually done this quite a few times. But while we're at it, we're like, let's just remove it and then compare the two, just so we can see side by side. So in this video, we're gonna get a little bit more detailed. We ain't Monroe, but we did a teardown on this. We're gonna do our best, so forgive us if we don't live up to the expectations. But first off, we're gonna go ahead and start from the bottom and work our way up. So as you can see, I actually removed some of the diffuser from the bottom end on this one, and I did not. But it's very, very similar. So right here, this is actually just a bracket. This is actually, from my understanding, it is actually not the same part. This one says part number is 866. Actually, this is the same part. But sometimes they change some of the variations and stuff like that. This is the active grill shutter, and they both have it. This line right here that you see, oh, I got some blue stuff on me. It's actually, it's like Kool-Aid or Powerade. This is actually the hose for the front camera cleaner, right? So it actually connects to the front bumper. This line is also connected to the windshield wiper, so they're all kind of connected with this right here, right? So speaking of that, it's in the same area right here, which I like a lot more than having it on the top like it used to on the older Model Ys. And then as we kind of go up, okay, both of them have the PWS. So that's something that's already standard. There's a PWS here, there's a PWS here. They're, for the most part, very similar. Up here now is the crash bar. And the crash bar is actually slightly different. So first off, this foam that is on this is actually a different part. And on the Model Y Premium, it goes all the way around and then all the way around to the end. And then on the Model Y Premium, you have this extra bit of metal right here that kind of protrudes out. So when you look at the standard right here, the shape of it is very, very similar, but you can see that it stops right there, and then there's not an extension that goes, so it's not as reinforced as that. So you can see that it actually inserts from the inside out, and it's bolted on this special tool right here. So that is slightly different, and then as you continue to go higher up, there is a bracket difference right here, and it is an obvious difference, right? Because if you look at the bumper, which we're going to show you in a second, the bumper actually goes up higher on the Model Y Juniper Standard. So this bracket rises higher, just like that, and it's a flatter profile, whereas this is lower, which also supports your light bar. That's the center light bar that goes all the way here, right? So that's a little bit key difference as well. And then, of course, as we continue to go up, the headlight is completely different. So I'm going to show you the headlight differences. And I already have it removed. So here's the cool thing, right? The bracket location of the headlight, sorry, not the bracket, the 10 millimeter location of how it's mounted is actually very, very similar. If not, I think they're exactly the same. So like, for example, can I put this giant hunker on the Model Y? Actually, I'm just gonna try this just for science. Like, can I do this, or is this gonna trip something up? But can I actually fit this in and actually fit? I don't know. We'll have to see. Honestly, that's pretty close, though. Is that on there?
No, it's close. Almost, yeah.
Is it on there now?
No.
Should be on there now.
There it goes.
All right, so. Not really. I mean, it fits, right? But just to verify, I have the Model Y Premium Light. I'm not going to connect it or anything. It actually still lines up. So you can see the hole right here, the hole on the side, and then the hole on the bottom where it's slightly hidden. But you can see the key differences between the Model Y Standard and the Model Y Premium. This is a light for the Standard, and you can see how small it is. and all it has is, it's actually a different shape. So when we actually did the pattern on the Model Y Standard, we had to make a different pattern compared to the Model Y Premium. So it is much smaller, much lighter. However, this is a really big hunker, which is why it's so expensive. But both of them, they're pretty expensive, so make sure you PPF both of them before you start enjoying your vehicle. So that's kind of cool that it actually fits. Whether it works or not, I wouldn't think so, because typically it is software with a specific firmware for specific parts. So I don't want to error anything out by connecting a premium, right? Premium light bar. Or there you go. When you remove it, go ahead. So that is a pretty key difference between the two light. Of course, the other key difference that we haven't talked about is this light bar on the center goes on the premium that sits in the center right here. Of course, because the bracket is different, it would actually sit more so roughly around here, right? Or actually flush to the light, right? But you can see that the Standard does not have that, right? So that is another key difference between the two. Okay, so as we move forward, one of the key interesting things that we found is that honestly, if you look at the internals of it, it is almost exactly the same. Starting with like the super manifold, right, to the actual thermal beam, and all of this stuff, the lithium battery, they're all the same, right? So I think this is the really amazing thing about this Standard. Yes, I think there's a lot of maybe some bad press about it being so cheap and not a good car, but I mean, honestly, after having actually owned it for 2 months, and I've actually owned the Model Y Premium for 8 months, since April of this year, this drives like a Tesla. Yes, you don't get some of the fancy stuff, but internally it is almost exactly the same. And then you get all the good stuff that makes Tesla a Tesla, right? The technology of the battery, the technology of the thermal management, the technology of, the super manifold, and I mean, these are fun stuff, right? So you got like the super manifold. And what's funny is Tesla is notorious, kind of like Jeep too, but they're notorious for like putting Easter eggs in their builds. So like if you actually look, not in this one, but there's got to be a super bottle. That one was one of the other one. The other one was Octavalve. There was a little like a octopus with valves. I don't know. Maybe you can put it here so that I don't look weird saying that. But as you can see, it's exactly the same all across here, including the active grille shutter. I'm pretty sure they're the same part, but this one says 887. This one actually is slightly different number. So, I mean, I am not surprised that they're different, but they look very, very similar, right? And then I'm pretty sure all of these are very, very similar as well. So now let's talk about some of the differences, right? We're not an engineering company. We are we are a wrapping company, a DIY wrap company. So I'm not really qualified to talk about some of the other things, but I can point out some of the key differences. And here's one key difference that we notice. This is where the intake is for the air for the HEPA filter. So I'm going to talk about some of the HEPA filter differences. So if you look right here, I'm not going to open it because I'm going to need some Torx. But this is a pretty heavy thing right here. And if you look underneath, this is what the HEPA filter looks like. And this is where the air goes through. And then once it goes through here, then it goes into the intake, and that's the air that you breathe. And of course, on the Model Y Premium, you also get something called biohazard mode, which actually, if there is a fire, if there is some really harmful particles in the air, right? I forget what it called. It's AQI, I think, or something like that in the particles. It's like the air quality index, right? Yeah, AQI. Then this will really help you, especially if you have like respiratory issues, right? So that's on the Premium, and check this out. This is actually so much lighter. This is on the Standard, and we actually removed it. And look at this. There's nothing. Look inside that hole. It literally is just an empty, right? Because you're just getting that organic air, that organic Standard air, and then you're getting Premium air on the other one, right? So you can also see the key difference is the size of the intake is honestly like half the size of this, maybe even more, right? So you can see the intake is just so much wider on the Premium compared to the Standard. The Standard is teeny little bit with, of course, no HEPA filter. Can you put a HEPA filter or do something like that? Maybe, maybe not. I'm sure someone can figure out a way to do it or MacGyver it, honestly. But this is how it comes straight from Tesla, so that's kind of interesting. So, of course, This is something that's talked about quite often. The frunk is actually a little bit different shape. So if you look, the construction of this is slightly different. And then you can see right here, it has some sound dampening trims right here, which makes it easier. So one of the key thing I really like about the standard, which I thought this would be cool, and we've actually never done this, and we're gonna do this on camera in this video, is this has a self-closing mechanism, meaning when you just push it down, it basically just closes on its own. On this one, I think most Tesla owners will understand, because we've been told this in the manuals of the Tesla in the first getting started guides and stuff, is when you close it, you have to use 2 hands, you have to put it right here and evenly push it down so you don't dent the hood. That's what they tell you, right? But this is nice because you can actually pull it down, and then basically it will, wow, this is this is a little bent, but it will basically, you know, come down and it'll just close. So let me show you the construction of this. So here's some of the things I see differently. So this right here is this kind of like weighted thing right here. But as far as the construction, it looks kind of similar. And then I'll show you right here. This has a standard spring mechanism right here, which is like a coil. But the construction looks very, very similar. So that's really the main difference. I wonder if you can like swap it out. Like, cause I drive our Premium a little bit more. I like that function. Can I like swap it out and then put it here and then make this work? Or just buy the part? I don't know. But this latch right here looks exactly the same, just from my understanding. So same bolt, 10 millimeter, right? And then the shape of it looks almost the same. So let's go ahead and start with, let's do the Premium. I'm gonna get this off service mode. There we go. All right, we're gonna close it. So I'll show you how it works. All right, so you kind of, yeah, I mean, it's a standard latch, right? Okay, so you kind of saw the construction right here. Now let's go ahead and show you on this side. I'm gonna go lighter. Okay, that was so heavy. I'm gonna go super light now. It feels different for sure. I'll do it one more time. This is the main thing that I see the difference is this little, I don't know, it almost looks like weight, like small weights. And then this one is that spring-loaded coil, right, that you see right there. So as we kind of continue moving up the list, like I said, everything internally is very, very similar. We talked about the HEPA filter. This is one of the more commonly talked about. This is the Frunk. It's a very much felt material. It is light though, which is great for range, right? This is much more, you know, thermal plastics, and it's a lot more rugged, heavy, and definitely a more finished look, but I don't think most people care too much about it. And the Frunk is definitely a little bit smaller on the standard, and it doesn't also have the plug for coolers and stuff like that, which is, I guess, cool. But if I'm being totally honest, we did a video about it when it first came out. We were one of the first ones to get the Premium, and then I've actually never used it as a cooler. If I use a cooler, typically I have a cooler in my car, like when I'm traveling with the family, and then I just use a cooler. I don't know, because like we have kids, we just kind of grab it from the middle, you know. That's typically how I travel. So as we kind of move forward, couple other things too that I'll recognize is the latch right here. Look at this. So this construction is slightly different. There's a lot more going here, okay? And you can see right here is actually one piece all into one like that, right? It looks like it uses the same bolts, very similar, but it actually is slightly different construction right here. Like I said, the hood is actually slightly different compared to this one, to the Premium. So it makes sense that it's slightly different even on the hinges right there. So of course, I think this is the most commonly talked about differences between the two, the Model Y Standard and Premium. And as you can see, and you can come over here, this is the Premium bumper that we already have removed. You can kind of see the inside. Like I said, I did have this all removed all separately on this one. The harness is exactly the same. The front camera is actually exactly the same as well. This is the little nozzle to clean the camera. But other than the differences between where the headlight and the light bar goes, I mean, they're essentially very, very similar in terms of the construction. Let's go to the Model Y Standard over here. Sorry, it's a little messy at the moment. You can see right here from the inside, same thing, camera, you got the tow hook, same harness that you see right there, and then of course active grille shutter, but very, very similar in terms of the internals, right? I'm not really talking about the exterior differences because I think everybody knows about that. But I think that basically sums up all the differences. I think this was fun. This is always fun for us to do this. We like sharing some of these findings for you guys as well. But I think what's really great about the Standard, and I think a lot of people are saying it's too close. Yes, maybe. But I do think that it is a great car. It is a good car. You don't get some of the, I guess bells and whistles, right? You don't get like the HEPA filter or the screen or some of the other smaller things. But if you don't care about those things, this is still a fantastic car. Internally, it is a great car. I think Tesla has done a great job in that regard. Of course, the premium is a premium product. It's great. It has all the bells and whistles, the screen and the screen, the HEPA. What else is super premium about it? Oh, double pane windows, right? You got the roof. You got cup holders or like more fancier cup holders. You got automatic seat going up and down. Automatic mirror folding. There are quite a bit, and the list goes on and on. But like I said, what matters is internally, it drives like a Tesla. It is a Tesla, and you can have the latest version 4 on it with the latest computer, with the latest FSD. And if you haven't, today, I literally went home and came back on 14.2 on our premium, completely touchless. I did not touch it from the moment I left from my car in my home to work. Not at all. It literally parked it right in front, and then I've brought it in. So, I mean, it's fantastic, and it's amazing that you can get the tech of the Tesla FSD in this $39,000 or $40,000 car. So, hopefully, you learned something. We definitely did. But if you have any questions, let us know in the comments below. Make sure you click on that subscribe button. We love doing these teardowns and some of their findings that we find, but it would really help us if you click on that subscribe button. And now I got to put this all back together, so we'll see you later.